We are rolling.
We are? Okay.
Yeah, she's rolling.
Britney Spears Monopoly.
Yep.
Wow.
This is a Britney.
This is a Britney
actually, I have a
forward house.
Britney is my. You know how like the gays have one pop diva?
Yeah.
Mine is Britney. Who is your one? If your number one?
Oh,
can I guess?
Yeah.
Is it Gaga?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
There's a whole Born This Way sub-story, subreddit that I can get into at a later time.
Okay, great. Love
yeah.
That to me is a very important like personality question.
It's a big litmus test.
Yes.
Yeah, you can tell a lot from someone based on like who their diva is. 100%.
I have a therapist who's a gay man,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked him, I'm like, who's your number one pop diva?
Yeah.
And he's like, Madonna.
You know, it's a generational thing.
But I thought it was like, that's like classic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, you're Madonna, I'm Britney. Like,
she's top 4 for me, Madonna.
oh, I love that.
Yeah, she's top 4. She was one of my earlier discoveries.
Yeah.
She's like my gateway girl.
Well, I mean, she is the mother of Gaga and Britney.
Yeah.
That's undeniable.
I know. It's a little tough to admit sometimes.
Really?
You know, you hear about these feuds and you hear about, like, Madonna accusing Gaga of, like, stealing from her. And there's definitely influence. You know?
I think it's undeniable.
It's undeniable.
But Gaga is, of course, her own thing, too.
Yeah.
But Madonna's their mother.
I know.
I know. And I think that's okay to say. And I love Britney.
Yeah.
Like, no one can say anything about Britney to me.
You know, Britney, a lot of her influences are like Paula Abdul as well, and Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
So, because Britney's so much of a dancer also.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to At Capacity.
You don't have to say you're sorry. Would you rather have nothing than have it at all?
Hi, I'm Tessa. I am a comic, and I am disabled living in New York City.
I'm Sean. I am a comic also, even though I need to be doing a little bit more of it, because I've gotten a little lazy this summer. It's the heat. And I have a disability as well, and a lot to say about it.
And this is Bunny. She's a supermodel Chi-Chi.
And Bunny is Bruiser's second cousin.
Basically.
Yeah, let's get right into it.
I just want to say quickly,
Yeah.
what makes us different, and we're going to get into this more later, but you were born with your disability,
Yes.
and I acquired one.
You inherited one.
Not inherited.
You acquired one.
Acquired one.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. You didn't inherit one.
No.
You acquired one.
I inherited mental illnesses,
Right.
but I acquired disabilities from an accident. So that's where
Okay.
we differ. But
For sure.
I want to hear your origin story.
Okay, I'll tell you everything. So, as you mentioned, one of the differences between us is we both identify as disabled. I was born with a disability. It wasn't diagnosed or necessarily discovered for a couple of years, but it was something that happened at birth, is what they believe. Long story short, I have a case of cerebral palsy. Specifically, it's identified as something called spastic diplegia. And cerebral palsy is essentially, they don't know 100% if it's something that happens in utero or if it's something that happens during birth where maybe your brain doesn't get enough oxygen. I think what must have happened, my mom, and I think things are so blurry, we don't know. Also, it was the fucking late 80s, like things were so different. We all just like, you know, smoked in the emergency room and shit. Like it was so different back then. Like, so I asked my mom once, like, how did this happen? And the truth is, we don't have a specific answer or something to point to. The investigation never really happened. And some of that's because I kind of was diagnosed, not late, but around 2.5, 2-ish. It was a surprise to my parents because I was developing not to brag, kind of beautifully. Like, I was...
Like at the pregnancy check-ins and stuff like that?
At the pregnancy check-ins, I was totally fine, but I was hitting my milestones really early.
Post-birth.
Post-birth. I was, smiling, and I was speaking really early. Like, I started speaking around 9 months, and I swear, like, my sisters don't believe it, but, like, we have tapes, we have cassettes. Sean, 1989.
Okay, Taylor.
Sean, 1989, ABC's Twinkle Twinkle Little Star,
demo tape.
which I just learned is actually the same melody.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I did, but it does kind of blow your mind when you hear that. You're like, no, that can't be true.
Because those were like the main tracks as a kid.
Those were the beats.
Anyway, I was developing really nicely, and especially on the communication side of things, my parents were
But cerebral palsy doesn't affect any of that, right?
It's really interesting that you asked that. Yes and no. I actually, as a college student, I volunteered at a United Cerebral Palsy, and I learned how much of a spectrumed condition this is. Now, this was people on the more severe side of the diagnosis because they were in a home. They were in a group home. They had a lot of facilitation, but you saw the range even on the more severe side of the spectrum. There were people that could have in-depth conversations, but they couldn't get the words out. And there were a lot of mechanical tools that would help them communicate. Some people even had, like an antenna connected to their head that they would press on a keyboard because they didn't have control of their hands, and they didn't have really vocal capabilities. So it's really, cerebral palsy is actually one of the more common disabilities, but it looks a little different on everybody. And my parents were really surprised. They were surprised because I was hitting those milestones early. I was communicating and speaking beautifully. They thought I was like actually advanced.
Well, you are.
In some ways, arguably, maybe.
I think you are.
Thank you.
And remind me your lineup. Like, I know you're
I'm the oldest boy.
Oldest boy, so that's a lot of pressure because your parents are
Oh,
immigrants.
that's a whole other conversation, yeah.
But yes, you had pressure to...
My dad's from Georgia, the country.
Not the state.
Not the state, otherwise I'd be Sean Johnson or some shit. That is a pretty machismo type of country. Also, it was the former USSR,
Right.
so he had fled that, and there was a lot of ideas of what his son might be.
Right.
And
Firstborn.
I might not have been that. Yeah.
Oldest.
Firstborn, oldest,
Male,
and he loved soccer. And my mom was really at football. My mom was very athletic too. So they kind of, and they're very competitive, my parents. I'm not competitive. I'm uncompetitive to a fault.
Oh, I'm so competitive. I'm like...
Okay, so you'll bring the fire here.
Yeah,
I love it. But yeah, so they were shocked, surprised, and they were honestly devastated.
Yeah.
They were devastated.
And I think that's beautiful to say. That's just the truth.
Absolutely. Right? And, they, diagnoses, your mind just goes to the worst place. And that's what happened for them. And my dad kind of just shut down a little bit. My mom wanted to figure out what the next steps were. You know how moms can sometimes be. And schooling was the next topic of conversation. What are we going to do? I had multiple surgeries as a late toddler. I think about 4.
Okay.
No, you definitely beat me. Definitely beat me. The surgeries I had were kind of like 1-1, 2-2. Like hernia release.
Oh, okay. I also have a hernia.
Nice.
I had hernia surgery.
Yeah. So school was a big topic. What is he going to do for school? And my grandfather was a principal for a school for deaf children. That was his career. Lexington
In
School for
Georgia?
the Deaf. Here.
Here.
My mom was born in America.
Oh,
My grandmother was born in Argentina but moved here to the States. Her parents were from Ukraine. And then my grandfather, his parents were also Eastern European, but he was born in the States. He had a brother, Donald. Donald was a twin. He had a heart issue and he was also deaf. Growing up, this kid did not have opportunities. And my grandpa dedicated his entire life and career to making sure deaf children had better education and opportunities. So he was an interesting perspective and support system during this early diagnosis stage. My mom brought me to specialists, and one specialist said, you're gonna have to put him in a special school. You know, I was acing all the puzzles, I was doing all the word stuff great, but I had mobility issues, and I still have mobility issues. My mom was devastated, but didn't accept that as the final answer. And my grandfather, who was quite a cold man in many ways, was incredibly supportive and steadfast in this. And I was raised in Queens. I went to a private Jewish school, and my mom met with the school board before and said, you know, he has some limitations. And she told me recently, she spoke with the gym teachers, and she said, you know, he's not going to be able to do everything, and you don't need to push him to try to, but you can make sure that he's a part of it. And it's really interesting because as I've gotten older and trying to take care of my fucking body, which is exhausting, you do have to think about modification. And that was something years ago I wasn't comfortable speaking about in a class when the yoga teacher said, does anybody have anything they want to share?
Oh, I never say that. I never, ever, ever say that. I just feel like that's not a good, like, when they, because I do Pilates. Like,
Right. You instruct Pilates.
No.
You go to Pilates.
Thank you.
Okay. I would totally believe if you were a yoga Pilates instructor.
Thank you. That's such a compliment.
Yeah.
No, but whenever they start class, there's like, does anyone have anything there, like any like modifications they need or whatever? I literally will not say anything ever. Because I just don't feel like it's very inducive of telling the truth to be like, in front of the whole class, right now I'm making a big announcement and I'm going to somehow feel safe to tell you something.
It really, it brings up some sense of embarrassment.
Yeah.
I understand the essential part of having that be a part of a class.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's the right way to do it.
Yeah. I think how I've handled it, because I had a hernia surgery, and then my surgeon was like, you can't go back to Pilates for a month. And that was fine. But then when I rejoined, I took the teacher aside, because I knew that was kind of the culture that she was going to ask.
Yeah.
So before class started, I was like, hey, I can't do like any stomach stuff, like laying on your stomach. And that was fine. So maybe it is good. It has a purpose, even if it's not in the moment you say it, but it lets you know that you can talk to them about it before class starts.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I've moved towards. Look, I'm going to be really honest here. I'm not going to workout classes that often. But when I do, or when I have, I've now chosen to go to them beforehand. Mm-hmm. Okay, so, you know, one of the things that, like, I think is so interesting about every conversation you and I have had about this topic is that I'm someone that was born with a disability, whether it was in utero or during the canal, all of that, it's up for debate.
Panama Canal.
Yeah. But you acquired a disability. You were not born disabled, and this happened to you in your 20s. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. I was born without disabilities, and I think I was 26 or 27.
Yeah.
Now I'm 34.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at the Rockaways, which is the beach in New York. And you know what? I've actually I've said this story a lot of times. I'm going to try to feel it. It's easy, like, you just, like, say it, and then, but you don't feel it. So I'm going to try to feel it. I was at the Rockaways. I had just moved to New York. I'd moved to New York, like, 6 weeks prior. I'd been living in San Francisco.
Okay.
And there was a guy driving around on a jet ski, and I waved him down, and because I saw that he was picking up random women and giving them rides on his jet ski.
Okay.
So I was like, I want to be one of those random women. And I got on his jet ski, and I blame blame is a funny choice of word, but like, I went to go put my hands around him, but I blame my whole disability on this moment, because I joke, I'm always like, before I went to go put my arms around him, because he was driving the jet ski, I asked him, is it okay if I put my arms around you? So I always joke that I went to one too many consent workshops in college. And he actually said no. He said, don't put your arms around me. There were handles behind me.
I learned this recently.
There were handles behind me, and I grabbed onto them behind me.
So almost like this.
Like this.
Yeah.
Which makes absolutely no sense. It's like the craziest design you've ever heard of in your life, because how is that going to help you? I'm no woman in STEM, but like, I know the physics.
In STEM.
I'm not a woman in STEM, but like, the physics of that is crazy.
No, I completely agree. Like, I actually had just this year gone on a jet ski. I had never known what they were like.
Shivers.
And I did see that these handles kind
of
are located, you know, on the side. I kind of did it for my friend's nephew.
My God, never.
Yeah, because he kept asking me, and I didn't like it at all.
People always ask me that. Anyway, let me tell my story. So he was very like Honora, if you know Honora.
From the movie.
From the movie Honora,
Yeah.
he was very like...
The Russian guy?
The Russian guy, like
Yeah.
Russian...
The kid or the Armenian guys? The homeowner? Or the guards?
No, the guards.
Okay,
he
was like
more
the
that.
guards. Okay.
And he was like, no, hold on to the handle, so I did. And this was like a top-of-the-line jet ski. Like, this was like the one that had the most horsepower or whatever.
Okay.
And he accelerates, and I fall back immediately. And, you know, I always joke, like, normally when whores fall off jet skis, they fall off to the left or to the right. I fell off straight back. And so water from the jet propulsion, so again, I'm not a woman in STEM, but if a jet ski is going a certain amount forward, that means that the propulsion has to be going even faster. I think.
That makes a lot of sense. Do you remember how fast it was going?
No, and I don't want to say, because I would have no idea, and like, I don't want to like misquote it. But it was fast. It was hyper souped. It had as much horsepower as a Tesla, is what my lawyers told me.
Wow.
I fell off straight back, and there's a propulsion from water. So water propulsion from the jet ski entered my rectum, and it basically impaled me. I was impaled by water. It's basically what happened. My colon burst open, and I went septic, which is when your blood is poisoned. My blood was poisoned by my own feces, because my colon burst open and then my feces was in my bloodstream. And in the moment, I was just like, I played soccer in high school, and not well. And I was just like, oh, it feels like I got kicked in the stomach by a soccer ball. But I wasn't like, I'm dying. Right away.
Like, how conscious were you when you first got propelled off that jet ski?
I was conscious, but then shortly after, I was like, flashes, you know, like I was screaming for help, and then I was on the beach, and I remember I was trying to lift my head. It's very like instinctual, but like I was trying to lift my head to see if I was bleeding. And there's like people around me, but like nothing, I didn't see any of that. I was just like, oh, I have to lift my head to see if I'm bleeding in this very instinctual way. But I couldn't, because I was dying. So I didn't have like enough life force to like lift my head. my next memory is, and then my friend said that because I was bleeding from my rectum. I have a nice scar.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a scar then, because the
Okay.
scar is from a surgery,
Mm-hmm.
many surgeries.
Mm-hmm.
They said the water was filled with blood, that it looked like Jaws. But I had no scars or bruises or wounds or anything. But I was bleeding from my rectum, which they later learned. And I was dying, like purple, gray. And then I remember being, my second kind of snapshot memory after the head is I was being taken away on a
Is it a gurney?
gurney. Yeah, there's another word for it, but stretcher.
Stretcher.
And I was like, in my head, I was like, oh my God, this is a big deal, because I've never been on a stretcher before. And that was kind of my one thought. And then I have another snapshot where I'm in so much pain. Like, the pain is, there's no amount of pain at all similar, nothing to normal life that I had experienced before. And I was screaming for pain meds. At the time, I am 6 years sober, but still, I was screaming for pain meds because I was in this terrible amount of pain. And then two EMTs were like, Miss, you have to stop cursing. Like, saying fuck was like the worst thing.
Like that was the priority,
Right,
there?
isn't that crazy? And then, luckily, shortly after that, I pass out from pain.
You yourself pass out. You weren't put on anything.
No, because they said that they couldn't, because they're EMTs.
Right.
And like, they're like, we have to get you to the hospital because we could give you something that would kill you. You know, like, they don't know what's going on.
Sure.
So
sure.
they didn't want to give me anything. I know what they were doing was right, but I just thought it was funny that they told me to stop cursing. Like, you can't handle a couple fucks? Like, I'm dying.
I know. Come on. I'm sure they've heard, seen, and experienced worse.
And if it were a man, would you tell a man to stop cursing? Probably not. I don't know.
Taken.
But I'm guessing not.
I feel like they tell me to stop cursing.
The girls and the gays.
The girls and the gays.
But
You
yeah.
can curse now all you want.
Thank you. Thank you, darling. And so, of course, I didn't know it at the time, but I was in, eventually they would put me, well, I had 4 emergency surgeries where they were like, they cut me open, they gave me a colostomy bag, which was the most fucked up experience of my life.
Yeah.
I smelled like poop for a year.
Why don't you tell us a little bit what is a colostomy bag, just in case anyone doesn't know.
Okay, so I was in a medically induced coma for 2 weeks. Sometimes I'll tell people I was in a coma for 2 weeks, and they'll be like, was it medically induced?
They have the audacity to ask that?
I've been asked that so many times.
Are you serious?
I've been asked that. You wouldn't imagine how many times I've been asked that.
Also, does that minimize the impact?
I know. I'm
Like,
always like, I wish I was in a regular coma, because
Yeah.
I was in a medically induced coma. I wish I
You
was in a
still get all the credibility.
No, I wish I was in a regular one. But still. So I woke up from my medically induced coma.
You're spelling it out now.
I was in there for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I woke up from my coma and I saw a colostomy bag. But I didn't even know what a colostomy bag was.
Yeah.
So it took
Why
me...
would you?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess some people would know because of just some certain
mhm.
circumstances, but I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically a bag. It was see-through at the hospital, but you can kind of get different ones. And it was filled with my own feces. And it was a bag, kind of like glued or taped to, and there's a stoma, which is basically your colon. They cut your stomach, they pull out your colon, a little bit of your colon, and you poop like in a bag. And I had a colostomy bag for under a year.
Okay.
And I had a total of 13 surgeries. I had a million like little, like day things where you go home the same day, but like full like anesthesia, like major surgeries, I had 13. And my tits are still small. It's horrible. That's really the biggest tragedy.
13 is Taylor's number.
I know, which I love Taylor too, so.
Can you walk us back to the moment that you first woke up?
Yes. It's like a slow thing. It doesn't, because I think I was on ketamine I don't know what I was on, but
Lucky.
I know. It was awesome. Or there's a drug.
Is it morphine?
Well, no, they definitely gave me morphine, but it made me sick. But there's
Okay.
one drug that like they use for medically induced comas, and so I was on it for a long time, and a huge amount.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes like weeks to like come out of it. But my very first memory was I was coming out of a coma. Everything was black and white, like gray, like
Really?
like the Wizard of Oz, you know, like before
Before it gets jazzified?
Yeah, before
Yeah.
it gets queer.
Yeah. When did the color come back?
I don't know, just the very first memory, it was gray. And
Mhm.
then maybe the next time I woke up, it was normal. Like, I don't remember.
Were you like, what the fuck happened? Where am I?
Yes and no. I was in a medically induced coma for 2 weeks, and I had a series of what they call ICU psychosis. So I had been hallucinating for 2 weeks. And it's true what they say about comas, where people can kind of like if someone comes to visit you, they were in a lot of my hallucinations.
Wow.
One of my very last, I had like a ton of very scary hallucinations, but one of my very last hallucinations was that I thought I was pregnant and had given birth.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I had named my daughter Stella.
Okay.
And I was like, and again, I was like, this was the period where I was kind of like in and out of the coma. And I was like, Stella, Stella, where's Stella? Because I had given birth
Yeah.
in my mind. And I think it was because my body was trying to like make sense of what had happened.
Yeah.
And so I had all this pelvic floor injuries. And so it was like, oh, you gave birth.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the connection it made.
Okay.
And so one of my very first memories was my dad sitting me down. I mean, of course, I was already in a hospital bed.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, Tessa, I have to tell you something. And I was like, okay. He was like, you did not have a baby. You were in a very bad jet ski accident. And he thought I was going to have a nervous breakdown. He thought that news was going to send me over the edge. And I was actually like, whew. I was like, good, because I'm like really stressed out about this baby.
Like, nothing's worse than a child.
I felt like I was being a bad mom.
I get it.
Because I was sick and I knew I couldn't really take care of the baby.
So this was really where your mind was at.
The hallucinations were 3D, crystal clear, like it was like life.
How long were you in the hospital post-coma?
Oh my god. I think like a month.
1 month.
So I was in a coma for 2 weeks and then so I was total 6 weeks.
So you wake up from the coma, you were having hallucinations already, and your dad clarifies and says, you're not pregnant, you didn't give birth, you were in a bad jet ski accident. Did you at that point remember being in that jet ski accident?
Yeah, I guess. But the very first thing that happened when I woke up from the coma was that my then boyfriend broke up with me.
Are you kidding me?
So the black and white, the gray toned, he was like, Tessa, yeah, we're gonna break up.
Did he come in person to do this?
Yeah. And like
He came to the hospital to break up with you.
my first day out of a coma. Yes.
I genuinely am speechless.
I know.
I don't have questions. I just want to let you have the floor right now to explain what that is like.
I was actually like more chill than you would have thought. The very first day out of a coma, he was like, we will be breaking up. Like, we will be breaking up.
Was there talk of you guys breaking up before the accident?
No. We'd only been together for 6 weeks.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was surprisingly like, he was really mean to me. I think he wasn't ready to, and that's honestly fair. Like, he was not prepared to deal with like a catastrophic event. Like, our relationship wasn't strong enough to like withstand the accident.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he was, and then, like, I don't know all the timing, but like I was still in the hospital and he was like officially breaking up with me. He's like, today we are breaking up. And I was like, okay. I was just like, okay. I think he expected me, because I described the accident as just like it torched my life. Like every shred of everything I had was burned to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he expected me to, I know he did, because I could tell by his body language, because he was breaking up with me, and I was just like, okay. Like, I said, like, you're a butterfly. I've been envisioning you as a butterfly and just letting you be free.
Very Mariah Carey.
Thank you!
Okay, so you were somewhat accepting of the breakup and understanding because you felt that realistically he was not going to be able to handle what happened, and what happened was your entire life was torched by this accident. Tell us a little bit about what that means.
I remember actually, because when you're fresh out of a coma, the doctors will kind of like test you to see like if you know what's going on. So they were like, what day of the week is it? And I'm an A student. I'm an A- student. And I was like, I have no idea what day, and they, you know, what day of the week it is. So they're like, well, okay, it's okay. What month is it? And I didn't know what month it was. They're like, what year is it? I was like, I don't know. I should know, but I don't know. And they were like, do you know who the president is? And I was like, Trump. I knew that.
Okay.
So I knew Trump was the president, and I was very sad about that. But and then I knew they were coming for their rounds.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, okay, like my dad was by my side every day. I was like, okay, what day of the week is it? What? Like I'd get him to tell me what it was, because I didn't want to fail the test. Yeah, I remember waking up and seeing the colostomy bag, and not, like, I'm feeling very dissociated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't think that was my colostomy bag.
Yeah.
I was just like, I felt no connection to it. And like I was cathing, like now I cath regularly. I use a catheter to pee.
Right.
But at the time in the hospital, I had like a cath that's like
long.
Yeah, like that's like in there
Mm-hmm.
for. I think they change it every once in a while, but
yeah.
So, but I wasn't like, I didn't know I had a cath in. I didn't know I had a colostomy bag. I will say, I remember one time my hospital bed could weigh me, and they're like, okay, we're gonna take your weight.
Wow.
And it was like my ex-boyfriend, or my soon-to-be ex-boyfriend and my dad.
Ex-boyfriend.
And I was like, oh my god, don't weigh me with them right here. Like, that's so...
Girl, you were probably so skinny in that coma.
Never been skinnier. 2 weeks of not eating. And they don't give you, like, that much...
Yeah.
That many calories.
No,
even that little bag. That little bag only has, like, 200 calories or something. So I was... Yeah, so, I mean, that's the story. There's a million things...
To dive into, of course.
To dive into, but that's what happened.
I wanted to ask you 2 questions to sort of give people an idea. Did you ever receive a diagnosis?
Yeah, okay. I have many diagnoses. So I have a neurogenic bladder, so I actually have spinal cord nerve damage.
Okay.
Part of the reason I lived is because I had an insane amount of scar tissue. So I just scarred up a lot.
Okay.
Way more than your average person is what they said.
Okay.
And so I have scar tissue. I have so much scar tissue that I have scar tissue kind of like kinking, like a hose.
Yeah.
Kinking the bottom of my spinal cord.
Okay.
Those are the nerves that go to my pelvic floor.
Okay.
So I have pelvic floor nerve damage.
Okay.
So I have a neurogenic bladder. I cannot pee.
Without the catheter.
Without the catheter.
Yeah.
So it's harder now actually, 7 years down the road, but I can still remember how it felt to normally pee.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember that, but there's no amount of remembering that can make it happen.
How do you today know when you have to pee?
I kind of it's like there's less nerves, but I can little nerves, and so I can like, it's like the thermometer doesn't work as well, but it still works.
Mm-hmm. And when you have to pee, you use a catheter stick.
It's called a straight cath.
Straight
female straight cath 14 French is what it's called.
Okay.
If you really want to know my specific catheter brand. Or not brand.
Google it.
Yeah, but it's a 14 French.
Okay.
That's what they call it. And it's individually wrapped. I do feel bad because it's like a lot of plastic, but I'm just not that bad.
There are other people that can spare their plastic.
Yeah.
If it's something you need, it's something you need.
And so I use a catheter every time to pee. I woke up, I'm just moving down my pelvic floor. I woke up and I had lacerations all throughout my vagina.
Okay.
And that was the most painful, like, injury. And I remember I would move like a centimeter on the bed, and my whole vagina would be like on fire with pain. Like they would move me to like make the bed, make the hospital bed, and I'd be like, the most insane pain you've ever felt in your life. Mm-hmm. What else? Okay, so I also have fecal incontinence.
Right.
So I have actually like the peeing is kind of okay because it's like it has a clear solution.
Yeah.
Like I use a catheter and that works really well, and there's really not a ton of major issues with using a catheter. Mm-hmm. My poop is different because I have nerve damage. So I have nerve damage. It's the same, like I can remember what it felt like to normally poop. So that is broken. And then also my sphincter, your sphincter has two like layers of muscle. And both of my layers of my sphincter were thrashed. Mm-hmm. So I have damage to both layers of my sphincter muscle. So I have nerve damage and muscle damage in my sphincter. And so I have a really hard time pooping. Like pooping is like the thing that I have the most difficulty with.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's so, I'm sure, we could talk about this. People always, I tell people that, and they're like, oh, have you ever tried a laxative? I'm like,
are you serious?
Yes, I get that like once a month. I'm like, obviously, yeah, I've tried every single laxative there ever is.
Yeah.
But like, they don't work because I actually like need a little firmness to help me because I have such a difficulty pushing that like if it were completely soft, then I can't push at all.
Okay.
And then if it's completely soft, then I have no muscle to keep it in. So it's a very delicate balance.
It's not necessarily the stool is the problematic element. It's more that the sphincter and the nerve endings that exert it are.
Because I actually had never, thank you.
Yeah.
It's not about the stool, it's about, because that's what normally the issue is for people.
I was away for a week and a half and I was constipated the whole time.
Yeah.
And that is an issue with the digestive, not necessarily the nerve endings. So that's why that question is like off base, but you probably know they don't mean anything by it. Yeah.
And you probably get stupid
People
ass
ask me questions all the time. And I have grown to just accept that this is not a malicious thing.
Yeah.
And that's actually, I always think about intent when people are discussing disability.
You're further along in your journey. I'm not, like, that thought hadn't even crossed my mind yet. I'm still...
About the constipation or the intent?
Intent.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm new. I'm only 7 years in.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you guys are stupid. Or like, I hate you. Or like, of course I thought about using a laxative. Like, are you fucking insane? So I'm still like angry. But maybe I'll get to your point.
You know what? It is a journey, and I can't say that that it's totally linear. There's moments I get angry with people. There's moments I get frustrated. I think some of it is that there's been so much in my life that I've dealt with or grappled with that I've gained a patience and tolerance, and also see that people often just don't know things. They really often just don't know things. And there's a lot that happens when someone asks a question. They feel a little guilty. They feel like, shit, I don't deal with this, someone else does. I'm sorry, let me try and understand. They rush to the question sometimes.
Right.
And they simply just don't know. I mean, think about all the time I've had to
Process.
mull in and grapple with and process cerebral palsy. And even though, you know, it's less time for you, 7 years is still time to understand your body at least a little bit, and you're going to keep learning. Like, you are honestly going to keep learning and modifying, and you know, there's going to be moments of acceptance, there's going to be moments of reluctance, there's going to be everything. When we had first met, you asked, do you call yourself disabled, or how do you identify? How do you identify might be the question you asked. And I said, I do identify it. I call myself disabled. And what did you say?
Well, I said, doesn't that seem kind of negative?
And I said, what if it is?
Yeah.
What if it is?
It is!
And the truth is, I deal with a lot of negativity. I deal with stiffness all over. No matter how hard or diligently I work out the day before, I will wake up that morning with like being stiff in all the wrong places. Because I'm in my 30s, we don't nothing works the way it did. But my legs will be tight. I can't really move around that well in the morning. I have to shuffle around, stretch a bit, all of that. So there's some negativity, there's hardship. Yeah, I have felt comfortable with the word disabled, or I have a disability. I sometimes will just say, I have a disability.
Yeah.
I think handicapped has kind of
Yeah.
phased out. We used it a lot in the 90s. That one never landed with me, but I'm really okay with disabled, or I have a disability. And what about you? Like, if someone asked you, how do you identify with respect to your, you know, physical conditions and diagnoses, what would you say?
I do identify as disabled. I have a hard time, owning it. Even though I am disabled and I need extra help and extra time and extra resources due to my disabilities. Because I don't, to the naked eye, you can't tell that I'm disabled. And I've sometimes taken up space at, say, an airport to, say I'm disabled, and then, you know, get looks from people working at the counter and stuff, you know?
They're not supposed to do that.
I
just
know.
so you know.
No, I know.
Legally, they're not supposed to do that.
I've
experienced it, and I walk with a limp. Yeah.
And it really discourages me from taking up space or identifying as disabled. But I am. I also have really struggled with chronic fatigue.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
And
I imagine that's actually probably pretty common for physical disabilities.
why do you think that? I agree, but why do you think that is?
Our bodies. Okay, I am not a doctor. Sorry, Mom and Dad. And I am not a scientist. Sorry, Mom and Dad. But when I was in middle school or high school, and I'm sure you learned about this too, there's this concept of homeostasis, which means your body's always trying to maintain itself. So when we have disabilities, our bodies work really, really hard. Over time.
Yeah.
Really hard to do normal day-to-day things.
Right.
And so that's why you might deal with a lot of fatigue, because you have nerve endings that are trying to do their optimal job, but can't because of the damage.
Right.
So they're working even harder.
Yeah.
You know, my legs, there are times when I'm very slim. This is not one of those. But I don't exercise that much, but I do walk. And I once explained to someone that my walking is a rigorous workout, because I have to physically exert a lot. I have to, physically manage coordination that isn't second nature to me. I have to put a lot of strength into standing up and literally putting one foot in front of the other, figuratively too.
Yeah.
So that's why we might deal with chronic fatigue, and that's why a lot of people with disabilities like do deal with chronic fatigue. I will tell you, it takes a while to find your voice with all of this and to speak up. Like, I know we kind of spoke about the workout classes. You seem to enjoy them. I don't. But when I did go to those, like 3 times in 2015,
that was a good night.
I did learn that, for better or worse, when you are a minority or a group that isn't completely represented or understood, you have to find your voice and be your own self-advocate.
Oh, that's so hard.
It's really hard.
Because it's just, I just feel like people don't believe me, or that I'm also like, I'm taking up, it's not true, but like, I'm taking up resources for people who are more disabled than me.
I think about that too, more disabled. Like, you know, for example, 2 years ago, I finally got the handicap park. Finally got the placard.
I really
and it's changed my life. And yeah, there are people that might need that spot more.
Right.
I'm not physically competing with them in that moment, and if I did see someone that needed it more, I would give up my spot.
Yes.
Absolutely. But I need that spot.
Oh.
I do, and it's okay to admit you need it too.
Yeah.
You know, when you talk about like what meets the eye, a couple things came to mind. Like, you know, you have scars and you have, I hate to say this, like proof of your disability. And you should never feel that you have to reveal that. That is really unfair.
Can I tell you a story?
Yeah.
Okay, I was on the subway. I still had a wound vac because I was so sick that it took a year for my scar to close. It was so deep and so wide. It took a year to close. So I had a wound vac, which was basically like a vacuum seal that like continuously brought blood to the surface so that my wound would heal more quickly. Anyway, I was sick as sick could be. It was very early in my...
And this was on the subway?
Yes. 1 second.
There we go.
She freaks out. I was on the subway, and the subway has disabled seating.
Yeah.
Those cute little. I feel like people like those seats.
Those two little, the little two.
Yeah, it's like 4. It's like 2 and 2.
The bus has disabled seating.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I see more disabled people on the bus, probably because it's more accessible than
Absolutely, you
the
don't
subway.
have to deal with the stairs. Yeah.
So normal people, normal.
Yeah, it's alright. We're gonna slip up. We're gonna slip
people
up.
Without disabilities.
Yeah.
Sit on those that 4 top, if you will, often on the subway.
Yeah.
And so I'm so sick, and I'm like, I see a young woman, beautiful, sitting on the disabled seating, and I'm like, excuse me, miss, I'm disabled. Could I please sit on that seat that you're currently on?
Yeah.
She said, I'm disabled too. I have back pain, and no.
Okay, wow.
And I am, and I have a scar, and it's fresh. You know what I mean? Like, it just happened. I wanted to lift up my shirt and show her my scar.
How demoralized you must have felt in that moment.
Yes. And there were no seats. And so she said no. And I was like, okay. And she said that she has back pain. So, whatever. And so I lean against, you know how the door is right there?
Yeah.
I lean against the door and I start sobbing. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, I felt like that was an early moment in my...
Because, you know, let me just applaud you. We live for the applause. For real, though, it takes a lot to find your voice to express yourself like that.
Yeah.
And for you to have done it so early out of your accident. I mean, that's really hard. I get it. I mean, I struggle sometimes, and, you know, on the bus, even the other day, I have a hierarchy in my head. I will give up the seat for a pregnant person.
Yeah.
And I will give up the seat for an elderly person.
Okay.
But it depends how elderly.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if a 50-year-old is getting my seat.
Okay. I'm still...
Sorry, 50 is not elderly.
But still, I feel like in New York, there's so many young, able-bodied men sitting down, and it fills me with rage. It just, like, and they're just like this.
The spread.
The spread!
Yeah.
And there was a guy spreading, this separately, but, like, there was a guy spreading, there's a seat next to him, and I went like this, and I pushed his legs over. And it was passive-aggressive as hell.
Yeah.
And I'm not usually like that.
Yeah.
But it might be good. Like, that I was like, you are spreading. Like, fuck you.
Some people need to be taught a little lesson.
Yeah.
But I do think, to your point, that you really did step out when you were physically in pain and visibly in pain.
Yes.
Like, from what you're telling me, like, it should have been pretty obvious.
And carrying the vacuum seal wound vac was at least 20 pounds.
Yeah.
And I had to carry that everywhere. If I went to the bathroom,
Yeah.
if I went just anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, you don't realize, but, like, it's like torturous to, like, carry around, like, 20 pounds.
Right.
Every day.
I can barely
24/7.
do a backpack, so I get it.
Yeah, it's crazy. But, like, even, like, to the bathroom, to the kitchen, like, to the living room, like.
Do you feel like your reservations, hesitations to speak up for yourself in an airport come from this, like, early traumatic incident?
I think it comes from the faces I get at the airport.
The faces that you
from
consistently
the
get.
airport employees, like, like of course
you don't
I'm
look
like
disabled.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
They're like, you're disabled, or or it implies that or whatever.
You know, it's interesting. I once had a therapist. Are you in therapy?
Yeah.
You are. You mentioned the gay male therapist who loves Madonna. Okay. Well, I had a therapist, and this was back with in-person therapy. Do you do in-person?
I don't.
Okay, I don't either. I like remote.
I
prefer
prefer in person, but
I'd probably cry more in person, but that's fine. I cry to chick flicks all the time and rom-coms. My best friend's wedding, just watched it.
I just watched Hercules last night.
Isn't it perfect?
Sobbing.
It's perfect,
Sobbing.
that movie. Those songs.
Oh, just everything.
But I had a therapist say to me that she goes, because we did talk a lot about my disability. And just so you know, I have been to 3 different therapists throughout the course of my life, and we still work out issues and topics and stories and struggles around my disability.
That's nice.
Like, it's not like it's addressed at 11 and wrapped up.
Right.
Like, it's an ongoing thing. It's okay. But I
want
think,
it to be wrapped up.
I think, when we were chatting a little bit about defining, how do you define yourself, describe yourself as disability, when it comes to a disability? And I do identify as disabled or a person with a disability, but I don't define myself as just that, because it's a big part of me. It's always been, and it seems like it's always gonna be, unless they figure out something for CP. And to be honest, I just don't know if I have the stomach to go through health insurance.
Oh my God, that's a whole other.
That's a whole other topic for. Yes, exactly. We say that a lot around here. But there is that concept. You're gonna learn the more time you spend in your own body that is different than the one you had for the first 25 years of your life. That your diagnoses, your conditions, the different challenges you have around your physicality, they are not going to define you, but they are going to be a part of you that you're going to always contend with. Yeah. And that contention is going to be evolving. There's going to be times where certain things are going to take a priority and others won't, and then they might shift. But what were we saying before Hercules? We were talking about airports, and we were talking about my therapist, and because I went to 3, not all at once, but no judgment to someone who goes to 3 at once, though. That could be very cathartic. This therapist, her name was Susan, and I'd seen her in LA. She said to me, someone can't tell you're disabled when you're sitting. She said, I would never know that you had anything when you're sitting. But when you move around, there is a visibility to it.
Right.
I was like, okay.
Did that feel hurtful or true, or?
You know, I sit a lot, but that's beside the point. It felt honest.
Yeah.
It felt accurate. And I think when you're contending with a condition or a disability, an illness, an ailment, whatever, you are going to want to deal with the truth. Because there are going to be a lot of people that are going to sugarcoat things.
Right.
And you are going to want to deal with as honest an opinion as possible.
Yeah.
You know, for a long time and of course this is a whole other episode, the dating, you know, I would prefer to sit as much as possible.
Will you like get there early so that you're sitting when they are?
I was doing that sometimes. I would also sometimes kind of lie about, oh, yeah, I just hurt myself. I did that a few times and that kind of backfired.
Yeah.
But when it comes to accommodations, you have a voice and you will find a way that you're comfortable addressing it at some point. It has to come from you. You're going to land on the words one day. You're going to land on the approach. It's not always going to work, but that's not your problem. That's their problem.
Well, and that's interesting too, because it's like, oh, maybe the truth or a truth is like, yeah, they're gonna, like, sometimes I'm gonna bump into people not thinking I'm disabled. And, like, that could just be a truth of, like, yeah, to the naked eye, like, you can't tell.
Yeah.
And so I could, like, get a little thicker skin of, like, okay, when I'm still gonna do what I need at the airports, and I might come across people giving me a little side eye. It's gotten less and less, weirdly enough. I feel like they've gotten more and more training or something.
I think there probably is a little bit more training.
And maybe I've, like, gotten better about choosing what is really helpful and what I don't need. Or maybe just a combination of all 3. But, like, okay, I'm disabled. You can't tell it by looking at me, per se. And I might come across some pushback or misunderstandings at the airport from from, like, staff. Was I about to say staff? Employees. And that's okay.
Staff.
Staff.
We're like Karen Walker.
I know. So, yeah, like, oh, that's a good point. Like, maybe part of my thing is just, it's gonna, like, I might have a little pushback because they can't see it.
Yeah. You know, the other thing is, towing it back to the terminology of it all, sometimes, I'm going to be honest with you, sometimes I'm just not comfortable saying cerebral palsy. I don't know, I think maybe sometimes it brings up assumptions and I just might not be feeling it that day. I do sometimes say I have a muscular condition.
Yeah.
I need extra time on the plane. By the way, I was just in Finland and I expected them to be like so progressive on this topic, and I was getting out, trying to get on the plane. I go, I need extra time. I have a disability, and she's like, oh, you can actually go sit there, and I was like, yeah, but you called pre-boarding and I missed it, right? And she's like, yeah, now we're doing groups A and B, and I was like, but I'm still eligible for pre-boarding. I should take priority. Yeah. The other thing, this is very real, like, I don't do well when I'm physically competing with other bodies. Yes. Like, going out has become a little bit harder for me, like, to a club or a bar or whatever, especially on weekends. And this at first was something subconscious for me, and now I'm realizing, like, it's very much, like, a real choice to go out on weeknights instead of weekends, because I don't like physically competing for space. I'm very uncomfortable and I'm very scared of falling.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very scared of falling. And I don't want to get on an airplane and be shoved or have to shove someone. So I think it takes experience. It takes doing it 100 times.
Yeah.
It takes, dealing with the fact that not everybody is going to understand it at first.
You know what's so funny is sorry, you can finish.
And maybe finding your housewife's tagline.
Yeah. What would yours be?
I think I actually have it on my Hinge profile. It's kind of like this, I walk with a limp, but not everything is limp on me. Yeah.
Mine isn't disability related, but mine would be like, I can dish it out, but I cannot take it.
And what would the dish be?
Hot goss.
Love it.
It's funny because I don't feel disabled enough, but in the beginning, my fecal incontinence was so bad, and I hadn't learned how to manage it, that I would literally put a tampon in my rectum to make it possible for me to travel, because my fecal incontinence would be so bad that I wouldn't be able to travel, walk.
Yeah.
And so I had a tampon in my ass, which is so dangerous.
Yeah.
You should not have a tampon in your ass.
Okay. No.
But just that's how disabled I am.
Right.
And I was like, I'm not disabled enough. I only have one tampon in my ass. You know what I mean? But it's there's no.
Yeah.
If you have to have a tampon in your ass to help with your fecal incontinence.
You should get on a plane earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
But no one sees the tampon in your ass.
Let's pitch this to the TSA.
Oh my god. I also, I had a colostomy bag.
Yeah.
And I went into the thing, and they thought I had a bomb strapped to my body.
Oh my god, are you serious?
Seriously. And they
did the swab?
Checked all my fingernails for explosives, and I had this whole big thing because it looked like a bomb. It was strapped to my person, and they went through my computer, everything, and because I had a colostomy bag.
Wow.
And I was like, this is a colostomy bag, right? You think they'd seen a colostomy bag
I would
before.
think they're
would
popular
know the difference.
Enough.
Yeah. People with Crohn's have them.
I've seen them before.
Yeah.
And I've seen. Do you actually want to grab a catheter to just show?
I can grab one.
Okay. But I love your ability to actually, when you're back, I'll tell you. Hi, bunny.
You love my ability?
One thing, okay. So, one thing that, just to sort of wrap it up a little bit, you have expressed to me before when your tank is empty. You have expressed to me when you just are, quote unquote, at capacity.
At capacity!
When you're at capacity and that you don't have it in you to
Yes.
meet up, to discuss. So, give yourself the credit that you can speak up for yourself and explain what your needs are and articulate it. And you might not have it right now at the airport.
Yeah, but eventually.
But it might get there.
Yeah.
Okay, one quick thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. We spoke earlier about the catheters, and I just wanted everyone to kind of get a visual at least.
I can send you a picture too that you can
That would be great.
Yeah.
That would be great. Well, I know you said your tank is empty, and we might be at capacity for the day, but we will see you next time with lots more to Dish on Disability.
That's so fucking hilarious. That's the perfect ending.
I try.
We're at capacity.
It's a happy ending. Or a, conclusive one.